It is hard to believe that the Trump administration wants to cut Social Security.
In recent years, the American political landscape has been dominated by debates over government efficiency, fiscal responsibility, and the integrity of federal programs. Two prominent figures, former President Donald Trump and tech entrepreneur Elon Musk, have positioned themselves at the center of this discourse, alleging widespread fraud and waste within federal agencies. Their claims have sparked a national conversation, leading to the establishment of the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, a newly formed agency tasked with identifying inefficiencies and ensuring taxpayer dollars are well spent. However, public opinion on these developments is deeply divided, reflecting a nation grappling with complex issues of governance, accountability, and trust. The genesis of fraud allegations. The narrative surrounding government inefficiency and fraud gained traction when Trump and Musk asserted that federal entitlement programs, particularly Social Security and Medicare, were plagued by rampant misuse. These allegations, while not new, were amplified by Musk's public statements and Trump's executive actions. Musk, appointed as a special government employee by President Trump to lead efforts in reducing government spending, has been particularly vocal about his concerns. In a widely discussed interview, he labeled Social Security as the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time, claiming that fraud within the program could amount to between $500 billion and $700 billion, figures that far exceed those of official watchdog estimates. While these assertions have been met with skepticism, they have resonated with certain segments of the population, particularly fiscal conservatives who have long advocated for government accountability. Proponents argue that exposing and eliminating fraud is necessary to preserve the financial health of these programs for future generations. They view Musk's outsider status and business acumen as crucial assets in challenging Washington's entrenched bureaucracy. However, these claims have also been met with resistance. Critics argue that while inefficiencies exist, the magnitude of fraud suggested by Musk and Trump lacks credible evidence. Government watchdogs, including the Social Security Administration's Office of Inspector General, have reported significantly lower estimates of fraud, generally placing improper payments at around $10 billion annually. The discussion surrounding fraud in federal programs is not new. Since the 1980s, Republican lawmakers have frequently raised concerns about waste, fraud, and abuse in government spending. Conservative politicians and policy groups have often pointed to cases of mismanagement, fraudulent claims, and administrative inefficiencies as evidence of a broken system in need of reform. However, Trump and Musk's claims represent an unprecedented escalation of this rhetoric. Musk's assertion that Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time echoes sentiments long held by fiscal conservatives who argue that the system is unsustainable without significant structural changes. While watchdog agencies estimate that improper payments within Social Security and Medicare range between $10 billion and $20 billion annually, Musk claim that the figure could be as high as $700 billion has been met with both support and skepticism. Proponents argue that even if Musk's numbers are exaggerated, the broader point remains valid. Entitlement programs require urgent reform to ensure their long-term viability. With an aging population and increasing financial strain on these programs, many Americans support measures to curb waste and enhance oversight. On the other hand, critics argue that Musk's claims are not only misleading, but also politically motivated, designed to justify draconian cuts that could harm millions of beneficiaries.
On the one hand, Doge has cut 7,000 workers from Social Security, and on the other, Elon Musk says Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Public opinion, a nation divided. Public sentiment on these allegations is far from uniform. Surveys indicate that Americans hold a mix of trust and skepticism regarding federal agencies. A Pew Research Center survey revealed that 53% of Americans hold a favorable view of the Social Security Administration, SSA, while 32% view it unfavorably. This suggests that a majority still trust the agency responsible for administering retirement and disability benefits. However, another survey conducted by Gallup presents a more nuanced picture. 52% of Americans expressed dissatisfaction with the Social Security and Medicare systems, while 42% say they are satisfied. This dissatisfaction likely stems from concerns about the long-term sustainability of these programs, bureaucratic inefficiencies, or personal experiences with the system. Critics of Trump and Musk's fraud allegations argue that these claims are politically motivated and lack substantial evidence. They caution that labeling administrative inefficiencies or differing policy priorities as fraud without substantiated proof is misleading and undermines public trust in essential government services. Moreover, they highlight that fraud implies criminal intent, which has not been conclusively demonstrated in this context. Polling data reveals a stark division in public opinion regarding Doge and its initiatives. A Pew Research Center survey found that 53% of Americans hold a favorable view of the Social Security Administration, SSA, while 32% view it unfavorably. Meanwhile, a Gallup poll showed that 52% of Americans are dissatisfied with the Social Security and Medicare systems, compared to 42% who express satisfaction. These figures suggest that while many Americans support reforms, there is little consensus on how those reforms should be implemented. Political affiliation plays a significant role in shaping opinions on Doge's actions. A Quinnipiac University poll found that 60% of voters disapprove of Musk's handling of federal workers, with 82% of Democrats strongly opposing his measures. Conversely, 68% of Republicans approve, viewing the reforms as a long overdue correction to an inefficient and bloated federal government. Independents remain divided, with many expressing skepticism about both the necessity and execution of Doge's policies. The creation of the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. In response to these concerns, the Trump administration established the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, appointing Musk to lead its operations. The department was formalized through an executive order issued on January 20th, 2025, outlining its mission to modernize federal technology, reduce wasteful spending, and maximize efficiency. Doge's creation represents a concerted effort to streamline federal operations, ensuring taxpayer funds are utilized effectively. Its objectives include eliminating redundant programs, implementing artificial intelligence and automation to replace inefficient bureaucratic processes, slashing federal spending through aggressive cost-cutting measures, and collaborating with the private sector to bring corporate-style efficiency to public administration. However, Doge's aggressive measures have not been without controversy. Almost immediately after its formation, Musk and his team initiated sweeping changes, including terminating thousands of government workers and eliminating hundreds of federal contracts. These actions led to a lawsuit filed by 14 Democratic state attorneys general, who argued that Musk's role required Senate confirmation under the Appointments Clause. A federal judge subsequently ordered Doge to release internal records and provide justifications for its actions. The legal battle over Doge's authority continues to unfold, reflecting the broader struggle over the role of government and the balance between reform and stability. Trump's decision to appoint Musk as head of Doge was met with both praise and criticism. Supporters viewed Musk's private sector experience as an asset, arguing that his track record of innovation and efficiency in companies like Tesla and SpaceX made him uniquely qualified to tackle government inefficiency. Opponents, however, saw his appointment as a blatant attempt to privatize public administration, warning that his profit-driven mindset could lead to the dismantling of essential government services. The ethical dilemma of privatizing government functions. One of the most contentious aspects of Doge's initiatives is the potential privatization of government functions. Elon Musk's leadership has sparked concerns that government efficiency is being pursued through a corporate lens, prioritizing profit-driven principles over public welfare. Critics